Have you ever noticed something strange about kindness? The more you give, the less it seems to be worth. You hold the door open and no one says thank you. You go out of your way for a friend, and next time, it's not even acknowledged. It's just expected. You show up again and again because you're kind, thoughtful, and reliable, but somehow it's like the more you give, the more invisible you become. It's a painful paradox. You were taught that kindness is a virtue, that good things come to those who do good. And yet, every time you try to live by those values, the world seems to repay you with coldness, disrespect, or plain indifference. It's enough to make anyone feel bitter or even betrayed. But here's the truth most people don't want to admit. Kindness, when given without boundaries, loses its power. It stops being respected. In fact, it can even become the very reason people stop taking you seriously. But before you let this turn you cold or cynical, listen carefully. The problem isn't kindness itself. Kindness is not the issue. The real issue is how you're using it, and how people interpret it when it's not paired with strength. This realization is not new. The Stoics, ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, understood this long before modern psychology ever caught up. They knew that if you want to be kind and still command respect, you must understand human nature deeply and act with both heart and discipline. Let me tell you a story from ancient Rome. There was a merchant named Gas. He was widely admired in the early years of his life. People in his district would say, "Gas is a rare soul, always helping, always generous." He lent money freely, gave his time to others, and never said no to someone in need. His house was a revolving door of requests, and he never turned anyone away. At first, this brought him praise. But slowly, something started to shift. The gratitude faded. People no longer thanked him. They began to expect his help. "It's just Gas," they'd say. "He'll do it. He always does." Eventually, even his closest friends began to feel entitled to his time and resources. One man borrowed a large sum of money and never returned it. When Gas confronted him, the man laughed and said, "You don't need it. Besides, aren't you the generous one?" It was in that moment that the illusion shattered. Gas saw that his endless giving had not earned him respect. It had cost him it. He had confused kindness with availability, generosity with obligation, and in doing so, he had trained the world to see his goodness as weakness. This isn't just a story from history. This is something millions of people live every day, especially those who identify as nice giving or empathetic. You think you're building goodwill, but what you're actually building, without realizing it, is a reputation for being the person who always says yes. And people don't respect what they don't have to earn. There's a principle in Stoic philosophy that applies perfectly here. People value what is rare and what costs them something. Think about it. How often do you appreciate the air you breathe? It's essential, literally keeping you alive, but it's always there, so you never stop to admire it. Kindness works the same way. If you're always giving, always available, always saying yes, your kindness becomes like air. Constant, expected, unnoticed. This is why people often chase the ones who say no, who are hard to reach, who have boundaries. Because in human psychology, scarcity increases value. If your kindness is unlimited, it becomes devalued. It's not because people are evil. It's because they're wired to respect what feels earned, not what's handed to them without question. So what can you do? How do you remain kind without being taken for granted? How do you stop being seen as weak without becoming cold or harsh? That's where Stoicism provides powerful, practical guidance. The Stoics didn't believe in abandoning goodness. They believed in tempering it with wisdom. The first principle is to be intentional with your kindness. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, helped others because he chose to, not because he feared rejection or wanted approval. That distinction matters. Ask yourself before every act of kindness, am I doing this because I genuinely want to, or because I feel afraid to say no? Kindness should be a decision, not a reflex. When it becomes automatic, people stop seeing its value. The second principle is simple but life-changing. You must learn to say no without guilt. Seneca said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." If you're constantly available for everyone, then you're not really present for anyone, including yourself. You have to protect your time, your energy, and your dignity. Stop over-explaining. Stop apologizing for saying no. A calm, "that doesn't work for me," is enough. You don't need permission to honor your own boundaries. And here's the magic. When you start saying no, the same people who once walked over you will begin to shift. They'll either step back or step up and show you the respect they never gave before. The third principle is about rewarding the right people. Reward appreciation, not entitlement. If someone is grateful for your kindness, if they respect your time and efforts, keep giving. That's how you build strong, healthy relationships. But if they expect your help or treat it like something they deserve just by existing, withdraw. Let them feel your absence. That absence will teach them far more than your presence ever could. The fourth and final Stoic principle is this: stop chasing approval. Chase presence. Chase integrity. A Stoic doesn't live to be liked. They live to be in alignment with their values. That's where true confidence comes from. Not from people-pleasing, but from self-respect. Marcus Aurelius wasn't trying to win the favor of the crowd. He was trying to live with honor. That's the kind of energy people respect. Ironically, when you stop trying to impress others, they become more impressed by you. Because people can feel when you value yourself. They can sense when you're not desperate for validation. That creates presence, and presence commands respect. Let's do a quick check-in. Think of 5 recent times you were kind to someone. Now ask yourself, did they appreciate it or expect it? Did they acknowledge your effort or take it for granted? Did it feel like a gift or an obligation? If you're realizing that you've been giving without receiving, helping without appreciation, showing up without recognition, don't get angry. Get clear. These moments aren't failures. They're feedback. And what the feedback is telling you is this: you need to raise the value of your kindness. You don't do that by becoming hard or rude. You do it by being deliberate, by making your kindness a choice, not a habit, by pairing generosity with self-respect. That's the Stoic master way. Let me leave you with a story, one that shows what real power looks like. Marcus Aurelius once had a general who repeatedly ignored orders. He assumed that because Marcus was patient and fair, he could keep crossing lines. But Marcus wasn't just kind, he was firm. One day, without drama or anger, he wrote a simple note: "Your actions are inconsistent with the values of this command. You are dismissed." No rage, no lecturas, just consequences. That's what boundary setting with dignity looks like. That's the kind of strength that earns respect. So, if you've ever wondered why people don't treat you the way you treat them, it's not because you're too kind. It's because your kindness has no structure. It's not protected. And what isn't protected isn't respected. But you can change that starting today. You can be kind and powerful, compassionate and strong. You can give with an open heart and still have firm boundaries. You don't have to choose. Because a Stoic gives, but never begs. A Stoic respects others, but never kneels to gain their approval. A Stoic is kind, but never a doormat. And if this message hit home for you, don't just move on with a head nod. Take action. Set one boundary today. Say no once. Withdraw your energy from one ungrateful person. That's how you begin to reclaim your self-worth. If you want more Stoic wisdom that actually transforms your mindset and helps you live with clarity, confidence, and purpose, subscribe to Stoic Master. Because here, we don't just quote Stoics. We live like them. We don't just study the past. We apply it to the present. Remember, kindness without strength is ignored. But kindness with strength, that's unforgettable.